Welcome to Business Street Logic, a show where we break down the logic behind the markets. I am Lilian Chiney Amadi. I have an in-house analyst. He is Mr. Patrick Atwaya. Welcome.
Welcome, viewers. Thank you, Chiney.
Okay. What is happening to drive equities lower?
Okay. Transaction risks are soaring as investors begin to price in the possibility of either party winning the election. Most likely Buhari win. So investors are reevaluating some of the assumptions, some of the earlier assumptions about what the implication of such a win will be. Now, if you look at where the markets are today, you will find that a lot of the sell-off is not being explained by some of the negative macro environment around the Naira and even oil prices, because oil prices have rebounded lately a little bit. So there's a lot of investor angst about this election that seemed a shoo-in for the ruling party is now most likely a toss-up. And this is leading to greater uncertainty about policy, and it's basically one between continuity and change. And investors are still trying to grapple their heads around what that means and implications for firms.
So what is the impact of the PDP or APC victory?
Okay, I'll start with the PDP. Basically, the PDP is trying to sell continuity as its theme. They have undertaken a number of reforms in the power sector, in the agri sector, in the energy sector to an extent through the local content, and trying to see Nigerian firms play a bigger role in the oil and gas space. Now, but the big failure in the PDP's message or its government so far, its inability to actually pin down something concrete that it has done for the Nigerian citizens. The power reform efforts, which could have been a big plank of this, have largely failed to touch the lives of Nigerians in a positive way. So basically, investors are now saying, okay, if this power is brought, if this political party is brought back to power, what will they do wrong? Or what will they do different from what they are doing now? And so there's a bit of investor angst around that. I mean, are we going to continue with the same reform inertia that has enveloped the country in the past 2 years? Basically nothing much has happened around some of the proposed reforms to move it forward to the next step. So what should the party do? The party has to come out clearly and state how it intends to, that's the PDP, how it intends to move Nigeria to the next level. Fine, they have undertaken some reforms, but it's not good enough just in slogans telling us you build roads and you build railways. What are you going to do next differently to take us to the next level? How is the country going to make sure that the gas supply gets to the power plants that have been privatized? What about the discos? How are they going to be more efficient or more productive? How are you going to support them, either through regulation or through helping the private sector to extend more loans to these firms so they can boost their capex spend? So we've not really gotten that, and so that is a problem for investors. On the APC side, they are promising change. Investors again are worried about what kind of change are we going to see. There's been a lack of clarity from the candidate, the presidential candidate of the APC, on what exactly this change would mean for companies operating in Nigeria. I'll give you an example. You have the power reform whereby the APC has come out to say they will review the privatization process. Now, a number of Nigerian firms bought those power assets. 90% of the loans were extended by Nigerian banks to the tune of $3.5 billion. Now, if you're going to review such a transaction, after people have pumped money into it, what does it mean for the banks that have loaned out money to these firms? What does it mean for the firms? What does it mean for the reform, the whole reform efforts going forward? There's also the issue of the sovereign wealth fund. There have been insinuations that it will be scrapped. What does that mean for saving a counter-cyclical rainy day fund for the country? So nobody is giving us clarity on these issues. So the banks are selling off as a result of that. A big firm like Dangote Cement, whose its major business lies in the fact that imports of cement is banned in Nigeria right now. So they've invested a lot of money into building domestic plants. And right now, even though they want to expand into other African countries, about 95% of their revenue comes from Nigeria right now. So if a new government comes in and reviews that backward integration policy, what does it mean for a big firm like Dangote Cement, which is the largest listed company in Nigeria? So that's why Dangote Cement is selling off. You have agric reforms where a lot of firms have pledged to invest a lot of money, right, to billions of dollars. What does it mean for a new government coming? So there's a lot of uncertainty, and both political parties, unfortunately for investors, have not come out to clarify to them what their win will mean to them. So the market is selling off, and it's possible it will continue to sell off for the next 6 weeks.
Okay, so how do you think these investors can navigate this uncertainty?
Well, if you look at the 5-year chart of the stock market, it's basically showing you that the next major bottom for stocks is around the benchmark index, around the 20,000 points mark. The NSE or Ocean index around 27,000 right now. So you could see a big drop from these levels. Investors are looking for clarity, and there's no clarity coming. So most investors are going to keep staying out of the market until they get some form of clarity. So investors are not buying, offshore funds are not buying. So absence of a buy side means the sell side will overwhelm the buy side, so the market will continue to drop for a while. We think that there will be no clarity until the elections come and go. So basically for the next 6 weeks, it's going to be, people are going to sidestep the market. They're not going to play any major active role. One little catalyst that might come up is the bank earnings for the major banks. We might start seeing some numbers in first week of March, but I don't think that will be enough to make the market rally. So investors will probably just have to stay on the sidelines for now. There is, unfortunately, they only have these two major political parties to choose from. The parties are not providing clarity. They are a big disappointment for most investors right now. So they're going to stay on the sideline until someone comes out and either wins the election and tells the investors will know the next step to take, or someone comes out and clarifies some of these issues. But until then, I'm afraid we're just probably going to continue to see a sell side to the market.
Okay, so what should they do? Like, what do you think these investors should do? What should they do?
Well, like I just said, they have to hold on to whatever cash they have. So you have to preserve capital. If you're a little investor or a major investor, you have to preserve your capital, right? So you are not going to dip into a market that might fall 2% tomorrow because of lack of clarity. So capital preservation is key. And then you might begin to selectively, if the banks come out with earnings that are not the doomsday scenario that people are expecting, because a lot of the banks are trading at very low valuations. A bank like UBA is around 0.4 times book value, which is quite low. So if they come out with earnings that are a little bit positive, there might be a short-term rally before the elections in the banks. So an investor might put some capital, into some of the banks that report good numbers. Also, to take advantage of the huge dividend play that they are becoming, because like UBA is around 10% dividend yield, which is quite good for where it's trading, because of where it's trading. So you can mop up some shares and take advantage of the dividend, and when the stocks go ex-dividend, you could sell. But again, because of the elections, that's another certainty in there. So it might just be a trading play for now for the banks, depending on what the earnings are, which is the next major catalyst. But in the short term before the election, but beyond that, there's no need playing in this market.
Okay. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for coming in. I'm still Amadi Chinea Lillian. Okay, see you next week. It's still Business District Logic. Thank you.